history is not just a story. History, it's fact. History is a learning experience. History is a narrative. History is a seerah that you learn from it. Imam Hanifa said, I prefer to know a little of biography about so and so of those great people as part of the history than even study a book of fiqh. Because that will give me a discipline, learning experience, the rich information that comes, in a reality, in something there, somebody was there having that character that give me insight that might even follow their path. So it's very important that we understand the history and we read the history. That sometimes when you read in the history, you travel there and you live the time and you will get lessons from there to your time. Let's not belittle that. And our problems, that we didn't write the history, we didn't even read the history, we didn't even care about the history. How many one of us that have read Kitab al-Bidayah wal-Nihayah? For example, Tariq al-Tabari. Any of the books like of history. Maybe we have read the Seerah, yes? Maybe it's not even that complete, maybe one volume or some of that. I'm encouraging myself and you, my dear brothers and sisters, to read the history. And we have very rich history that we learn from it. Our enemies, they try to make history where they have no history. And they base on the history, they make lies. And they said, oh, that's our land, that's our temple is there, and look at that. They fake the history. And they have no proofs. And they made that as a foundation and as a base to attack our brothers. Isn't that, the reason? Because they said we have a right in that land, and that's our land was written. That they wrote it themselves, and they claim something that Allah never claimed that for them. So you see, history is not just something in the past. That's history that we needed to learn from it. And nowadays, people figure that the fake that they are making, when people start learning, that's not the true history. That's not the true story. That's his story. That's their story. History now, his story. Their story. Now they are going back to study the right knowledge. And now I've seen many people grabbing the right sources. And many asking about Quran, asking a book of the Seerah. It's just today, I have two people came and asking for something that they want to learn from it more about the history of that land, about the Quran, about, Seerah. Many people, they're coming back to the roots. Because they know if you are having lack of formation, any person can fool you and can just make up his own story and feed it to you. My dear brothers and sisters, we need to learn. And we need to learn our history and feel proud of our history. We need to learn the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, the Seerah of Anbiya, the Seerah of Sahaba. That will empower us. And we need it, especially these days. One of the benefits that we benefit from that we learn in the history, no matter happen, and how many falls, and how many trips, and how many slips, they're always standing up. They're always standing up for the right, and always Allah will grant victory for them at the end. That's one of the benefits. And that's enough benefit. If I'm reading in a history, I learned this. Wallahi, when you read the history, you will be proud of that. Our ummah faced the problems worse than what we are facing nowadays. I'm not belittling the issue nowadays. It's very bad. But I'm telling you, our ummah faced more troubles than what we are facing nowadays. In the history, what's funny, how they use the numbers. They said in the day when the Tartars enter Baghdad in Iraq, they killed 1,000 people. You know what they meant? They meant 1 million. But they didn't use that number, million, you know? So 1,000 of 1,000, it's 1 million. They kill, and imagine when take about a million at that time. As a ratio, that means talking about over 50% of the population. And what they have done, it's major damage. But look at that. Our ummah always standing up. We need to go back to have the right narrative, to be proud of our history, to clear the misconception people are spreading, to be a means of guidance, and at the same time to empower ourselves and to read the history as supposed to be there and understand the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will be applied. And the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as he mentioned, it's coming. And what we are seeing, actually something that's been told about. And that should actually make you hold firmly in your tradition. Let's, educate ourselves, and let's, go back to the seerah of Salihin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.